Hi guys, this is my first live video here. Trying something out a little bit new just to sort of see if this works. It's something I've been wanting to experiment with for a while, so I hope you get a chance to see this at some point, or if you get a chance and you see this in your feed as you're going by, I'll be answering travel questions while I cook a meal based on these Blue Apron meals that I've been getting. So Blue Apron's a service that I've been trying out for a couple of weeks, just because one of the things that I've been trying to learn, and as I encourage a lot of people, trying to get outside of your comfort zone and challenging yourself is one of the best ways to really learn. And I think that travel is one of my favorite ways to do that, but I don't think it's the only way, and I'd like to sort of share that example with you as well. So without further ado, today what we're going to be doing, Blue Apron's a service, I believe only in the United States, but it may be expanding, where you sort of order and they send fresh ingredients and that kind of stuff to your home, and you'll be able to cook them. So again, I'm a few weeks in. I'm not the world's best cook. I'm doing the best I can. So I hope you enjoy what we're doing here. So tonight, basically what we have is a crispy catfish and plum sauce. So I'll go through the ingredients real quick and then start cooking. I've done all the prep work because that's the thing that I'm slowest at and didn't really want to include in the video. But first off, we've got 2 pieces of catfish here, some butter, some thick soy sauce, and some mirin, garlic chives, snap peas, carrots, plum, and garlic. So also we've got sort of salt, pepper, and olive oil that I'll be using sort of as the other side there, and sort of going from there. So with that said, I'm going to start doing the rice here, and I'm going to go through the instructions as I said, sort of read them out loud. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to do the best that I can. So right now what I'm starting by doing is I'm taking the rice and I'm adding that to some salted water that I already have on the cook surface. And I'm going to start by heating that up to a boil, and then I'm going to turn that down to a low temperature to cook. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to set my timer here for about 12 minutes, and that's when I'm hoping the sort of rice is going to be ready. Okay. Sort of moving the rice pieces around a little bit so they don't have as easy a time of sticking to the bottom of the pot. I haven't quite figured out how to fix that yet. That's something I haven't really gotten a chance to find. Okay, all right. So basically, sort of it's saying once it's boiling, you're going to cover and sort of let the rice cook. Again, also, I'm going to do the best I can here to sort of share some stories with you. You know, if I don't get any questions, just to sort of give you an idea of you know, some of the cooking experiences I've had while traveling that I thought were really cool. So without further ado, basically we're getting started here. I've got the rice sort of on, and I've got the prep work already done. So the first step that I'm going to do here is we're going to start by cooking the vegetables. And what it says is, in a large pan, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil on medium-high until hot. And then we're going to start by adding the carrots, seasoning, and we'll start with that step. So basically I'm going to start with that. So here we go. So a little bit of olive oil here. Turning up the heat. Okay. All right. So while we wait for that to get ready, I'm going to get my salt, pepper, and carrots over near the pot. Just checking on the rice there, and it still hasn't gotten to a boil yet, so we're getting ready. Cool. All right, so still sort of getting ready here to cook the vegetables. The rice is just getting to the point where it's getting to a boil. Just waiting for that to go, waiting for this pan to get hot. And I'm just turning the pan itself to sort of coat the oil along there. This is kind of fun. I've always been someone that watches a lot of cooking shows but don't really do something like this, so it's kind of a fun little experiment that I hope you enjoy. All right, so cool. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to start cooking the carrots as soon as the rice starts to boil, because that's getting very close there. Okay, just getting there. Thanks for being patient, guys. All right. Cool. So the rice is just starting to get to the point where it's going to boil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it and turn the heat down to low. And again, I'm still trying to do the best that I can here to not overboil. It's something I'm struggling with as I'm learning to cook a little bit better here. So I've got the rice cooking right now, and I'm about to start cooking the vegetables. And the recipe calls for stirring frequently with salt and pepper for 1 to 2 minutes here. So I've got my timer going for the rice, and I'm going to use that to gauge the carrots here. So as I'm stirring, again, if you've got any questions at all, please feel free. I know it's kind of hard to see me here, but I hope you are having a great day, and I hope this is interesting. I suppose this is something completely new. And I think sort of like maybe one of the best things to sort of talk about, if I can try to focus here, is sort of like why cooking interests me and why it's something that I feel is important. And I feel like I went through this in my head several times earlier today, trying to think, okay, well, what am I going to say when I talk about cooking and in general? And I think, it's not something that everybody necessarily enjoys. Some people feel it's a rote process. Sometimes it's a lot easier if you don't have a lot of time to prepare or work on ingredients. But I find cooking to be sort of like a really cathartic process, something that I really enjoy. And especially something that I feel like, it's something I struggled with for most of my life. Usually because, as I was growing up, both of my parents had very different views on how they liked to cook. And one parent really liked it, one parent really didn't. And it was really sort of like an internal struggle for me, just sort of seeing two completely different examples that, I learned to sort of cook with. So I'm adding a little bit of salt there and a little bit of pepper to these carrots. I'm going to mix them up. And we're approaching the 2-minute mark there. So now that I've been doing the carrots for a couple of minutes, it says to add the snap peas and garlic to season with salt and pepper and cook. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the snap peas and garlic. And I've already got some salt and pepper in there, so I've got the garlic in there. And now I'm putting the snap peas in there as well. Okay, and we're basically going to do the same sort of thing, stirring pretty constantly here for about 30 seconds to a minute there, just sort of getting these a little bit softer, a little bit more cooked. You can smell that garlic sort of like wafting up. It's really nice. Getting my rice softening up and overboiling here. So as we do that, slightly softened, getting the next things ready is to add a 1/4 cup of water when we're ready for that, and then it goes for 2 to 3 minutes. So get that ready and stir this a little bit more, sort of getting more of that aromatic flavor from the garlic coming out. And sort of go back to what I was talking about, sort of like as far as cooking is concerned. So, you know, it's something that's actually something that I've been quite honestly afraid of. It's something that I've been having a lot of trouble experimenting with, mostly because I didn't really know where to start. And I think that type of paralysis can affect you with anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be cooking. It can be a skill that you've been wanting to learn but haven't really sort of had the drive to push yourself to. And sometimes all it takes is, you know, sitting down and figuring out how to make one specific thing and do that one specific thing well. And for me, that was barbecue. I love to barbecue. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's a really social experience that I love. And it's one of my favorite things. Probably going to get really loud there. So I've added the water in here. And we're going to let this go for about 2-3 minutes more. So right now we've got 9 minutes left on the rice here, and we're just sort of cooking these veggies here, making them a little bit softer. They're going to end up mixing with that rice later as part of the dish. Okay. Bear with me here. I'm just going to take a look at the recipe here, just sort of make sure I'm on track here. Okay, so we've got these vegetables going. We're waiting for them to soften off. The next step is basically we're going to add those garlic chives that I cooked up earlier to these vegetable mix to get that going as well. And then from there, basically, we're going to mix that up with the rice. We're going to cook the catfish, and then we're going to cook the plum that goes on top. So that's the, yeah, that's the idea. So maybe that helps. Okay. Sort of seeing some of the way that this comes up reminds me of an experience that I had when I was learning how to cook some meals in Thailand that I really enjoyed. Maybe I'll put a video up of this later that you guys can see, where we learned how to cook sort of like a few dishes. Like one of them I believe was pad thai, and one of them was a sort of like a stir-fry dish. And me and one of the other guys in the class had the opportunity to learn how to sort of set these balls of fire up just by putting oil on a really hot pan, and that was kind of crazy but really interesting. So I enjoyed that. So real quick, just keeping an eye on time here, we've got about a minute of cooking these vegetables still before I'm going to take them off of the heat and then put them with the garlic chives. And we've still got just about, there we go, 6 minutes to go on the rice. So sort of keeping that there. I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper. Okay, and then add those to the garlic chives. So half the garlic chives. And put those in there. And mix that up. Maybe you can sort of see what's going on there. It's kind of a fun thing. All right. And I'm hoping here, I don't have the fan going, mostly because I didn't want to drown out the sound from the video, so I'm hoping I don't set the fire alarm off, which would be a really silly way to interrupt this video. But okay, so 5 minutes left on the rice. So we're getting that ready. Okay. So to the pot of cooked rice, you add the cooked vegetables and half the mirin. So I'm waiting for those to finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment here, let these vegetables rest a little bit, and I'm going to go find a bowl to put the steamed vegetables in, so I can use the same pan to cook the catfish in. give this pan an opportunity to cook down so I can wipe it out before I need to cook the fish. And then we're also going to put the plums in here afterwards as well. So using sort of like a technique that I've been getting better at is using what's called frond, which is the sort of like burnt bits that are left over, not really burnt bits, but like leftover parts from cooking, usually proteins, to add to like a sauce, which is really kind of cool. So, all right. Okay, so I've got the veggies here. So those are getting ready. The rice is still cooking. It's getting really close to finish. So that's about 4 minutes away. So, okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm just going to rinse this guy out here. So I've got this pan ready to go here and ready for that next step. So now that I've timed it, I've got about 3 minutes left on the rice, and what we're going to do is we're going to heat that and we're going to use that to do the first step of the fish here. Okay, so we're getting ready to get the fish done. So again, I'm just getting this guy set here. So I'm waiting for the pan to heat up a little bit back again, and I'm turning the olive oil around in the pan to sort of give it a bit of an even coat before placing that in. And we're about time, so we're about 3 minutes left on the rice. Getting the catfish in there. So the first step with the catfish is to cook for about 3 to 5 minutes until it's lightly browned on one side. And then we'll turn that over. While we're cooking the catfish, essentially the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding those vegetables to the rice along with the other seasonings. So bear with me here for a minute just to double check and sort of make sure that I've got this all right. So cooked rice, cooked vegetables, and half a mirin. Okay, so we've got that ready. I'm also realizing that I was talking about frond and not fond, so that's a completely different kind of thing. A frond is a plant. Okay, cool. I'm going to put this away just so that I cooking. And now that I've cleared up a little bit of space on the countertop, I'm going to get my plating plates out. These, I really like these because they are the perfect size for proper portions and stuff like that, and it's like these cute little cats. So that is my indication that the rice is done. So I'm just going to double check here. Yeah, looks really nice. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to fluff the rice so that I can mix it up with the veggies and the other stuff. Cool. Mix these guys in there. sure I turn off the heating element, and I'm going to use half of the mirin in the mixture here. Yeah. Still trying to get a little bit better at eyeballing these mixtures here. I'm going to mix these guys up as those as the fish continues to cook there.
So I've got that going. So I'm getting the catfish cooking. So basically at this point, sort of like I'm waiting for the catfish to finish cooking here. See if I can turn it so you can see what that looks like, but it looks really nice. Smells good. I love catfish. I think it's sort of something that really reminds me of some of my favorite foods from the States. So, you know, especially sort of like Cajun and Creole food, something that I'd like to get a lot more into as I become more skilled. I don't know if it's just because it's more, I perceive it's more difficult or if it actually is, but it's definitely something that I'd like to learn at some point. So, very cool. So we've got about a minute here before I'm going to have to turn the fish. And I do think I am going to have to turn this fan on, so bear with me. I apologize if the audio gets bad here. So there's that. Got about another 3 minutes on the fish, so I'm just going to turn them here. With using a seed-based pan. It's a little bit more difficult than I want it to be. Admittedly, that's a little bit more messy than I want it to be, but it should cook nicely still. Got that cooking. So just to double check here, so when the catfish finishes, basically I'm going to take those out and sort of let them rest on a separate plate. Probably take those. Put that on a separate plate, so I want to put that above the rice. So when those are done cooking, I'm going to put those in a separate location. Get started on the plum sauce. Okay, cool. All right. So, with that said, the catfish is getting real close to being done here. We're going to use this sort of like, brown bits in the bottom here to sort of like be a base for the plum sauce that we've got going soon.
Just finishing there, okay? Scrape some of this off the bottom here just because I don't want that necessarily being part of the sauce. Use that as a bit of a crispy topping later. Cool. So, what the recipe calls for next, and I'm going to set the timer here again so I can follow along, is to put the plums in. I just did a major no-no, even though my hands are clean, putting my hands on the food. Again, I'm the only person eating, but that's really what you shouldn't do. Alright, and so put that there for 30 seconds to a minute until slightly softened. Then I add the thick soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of water. And then after that, the butter. Plums going around in there, just softening up a little bit. At this point we're at the minute mark, and I'm going to add the soy sauce and the water. In retrospect, I probably should have had this sitting upside down because I realized it was going to be that thick and hard to sort of get out. It smells nice though. So we're going to continue cooking these. And again, after I can get all this soy sauce out. The butter here. And then after the minute's up, the timer should go off here. And we've got to add the remaining mirin. Garlic chives, I believe. I'm going to melt a little bit more because I think it's a little long on the process. What this should do is give it sort of a nice caramelized flavor on those plums. Brown that butter up quite a bit. Got those garlic chives in there. Sort of see that down in there. And then I'm going to get the remaining marine. me for just a minute, guys. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish plating up here, and then I'll show you what that looks like, and that will be the rest of the show. Almost there, guys. So basically I'm just getting things ready. I'm going to place the plum sauce on top of the dish. And I'll share that with you guys. Cool. And it is not my prettiest piece of fish ever or plating, but I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so for everybody that's tuned in during the viewing or that would be looking at this in the future, thank you so much for watching. This has been a new experience, something that I hope to do again in maybe a different format. I know this ran a little long, but I really enjoyed it. A little flustered, I suppose, just because I wasn't sure exactly how this was turned out, but I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did too. So thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.